Hey guys, Gavin here, and today I will be starting the first video of a mini series I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start previewing the top ranked teams heading into this 2022 college football season, as we are almost underway for kicking off this season of college football, week 0 being in a week from the timing of this video filming, a week and a few days. And I first want to start off with the question: can Alabama win the national championship this year? Rebound after losing it last year and keep up the streak of, in the college football playoff era, of having every class that Saban has had win at least one national championship. I honestly have looked via Phil Steele's 2022, preseason college football preview right here. I've looked and read through Alabama a little bit, and I honestly think they have a good shot at winning it next year. I mean, based on the talent that they're returning, the top two players in the nation, in Bryce Young and definitely Will Anderson Jr., who may be the best all-around player in the nation. I mean, the way he mauls offensive linemen is incredible. And so I honestly think that Alabama can do it probably. I mean, they're bringing in Jahmyr Gibbs out of Georgia Tech, averages 5.2 yards an attempt overall his entire career. They're bringing in Jermaine Burton from Georgia, as well as they're going to have JoJo Earl and Tyler Harrell Jr. Be their other two wide receivers. And I'm going to be honest, I mean, this may sound casual of me, but this just shows you how closely I do not follow Alabama. I never heard of those guys really before. Maybe might have heard their name once or twice, but to be honest, I mean, these guys could be the next Alabama wide receivers right here, those two. They could be, JoJo is a sophomore and Tyler Harrell is a junior. But these guys could be our next, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Henry I know Henry Ruggs was a criminal, but in terms of career, like Henry Ruggs type receivers, and and I really like Latu being projected, Cameron Latu, the junior, being projected as their tight end. He is phenomenal, and I think he should be a good fill-in for losing Billingsley to Texas. I like their starting offensive linemen, and it looks like, they should be returning quite a few of them. I mean, they did lose the obvious Evan Neal to the draft last year, picked up by the Panthers. I think, though, that they should be in good shape. They're returning their kicker, should be in good shape there. Defensively, like I said, when you have Will Anderson leading that front, it's just going to be a deadly one, especially since they're all veteran now, because it felt like last year was a lot of newer faces after losing a lot of that team, that 2020 team that won that national championship to the draft. Though I think that Alabama has some good quality defensive playmakers. I'm a huge Jordan Battle fan. He is one of my favorite safeties in the nation. And I really like Henry Tuatu. He is really good. Tuatuo. And he, I hope I didn't butcher his name, but he is really good. I really liked him. I thought he was impressive in Tennessee. I think, he's been pretty all right with Alabama, and he could probably very well be drafted in the second, maybe first round, probably second or third round this year. I really like that. Eli Ricks, I've heard reports of him not doing well. I've just seen some reports from some college football reporters, but honestly, it's still fall camp. I'm not gonna count him out just yet. I think Eli Ricks can certainly be a star corner for this Alabama defense, and I won't be shocked. I still have hope for him, and I think he could be great. He just needs to keep getting acclimated. And I think that, I think that they have all around a great defense to work with. Dallas Turner, McCool-Aid, McKinstry, amazing player as well. I remember I've seen some good highlights from him over the last couple of years. And I think that this should be a great, great team right here. And honestly, their schedule favors them. I mean, I love Utah State, I really do, but I mean that's probably that's a huge win week 1. I mean, Alabama is just too much for that team, man. I think that Alabama gets the win at their home stadium, Bryant-Denny Stadium, and then their next game at Texas. Oh man, what are they going to do about Texas, who has a freshman quarterback coming in and who literally went 4-8 last year? What are they ever going to do? Because ESPN seems to want to hype this game up, but we all know this is a easy dub for Alabama. And then, oh no, University of Louisiana Monroe. Oh no, what are they going to do? That team is deadly good. Easy dub right there. Vanderbilt, we all know how bad Vanderbilt is. That's a win. At Arkansas, 4-0 Alabama. That could be a trap game. We don't know how good Arkansas is going to be yet this year. Arkansas is going to have their fair share. They start out with Cincinnati. And even though I think Arkansas can win that one, we don't know how good we'll see how this Arkansas team does this year, but that's probably going to be a W for Alabama. As we said, they're more experienced, they're more veteran. They have the team to go deep this year. Even though they finished 13-2 last year, I believe that they have a good shot at, starting 5-0, and then they come back home to face Texas A&M. There's been a lot of beef between Saban and Jimbo this offseason. I personally think that Alabama's going to wipe the floor with them. I think they're going to smack Texas A&M. I do think Texas A&M will be better than they were last year, especially since Max Johnson, in my opinion, likely the starter, should be doing a better job with just leading that team, being a better quarterback. We saw what he could do with LSU these last 2 years, though I think that I am honestly thinking that Texas A&M, I don't think they're gonna be as they keep getting these recruiting classes, man, but what have they done? What have they done? I mean, 2020, they seemed like they would have they seemed like they were on track to make that leap to being, that 10, 11 win team that could compete with Alabama and Georgia in the conference. Texas A&M has been disappointing to me so far, and I do like the idea of Alabama beating them, and I honestly think they'll beat them convincingly. I honestly think Texas A&M can have all the 5 stars they want, but I don't think they've put it together, and I'm still questioning if they can. I mean, I could be very well wrong with this. Who knows? Maybe Texas A&M gets the second straight win. But I honestly don't think Texas A&M is getting another win, a back-to-back win against Alabama. I think Saban has that game circled, and he's going to make sure his guys are ready. And I don't think this team is going to get embarrassed by Texas A&M again. I think that they're going to take care of business, and like I said, these guys are all experienced. Remember, Bryce Young, that was his first season last year. I would expect him to have even a better year this year, despite losing Jamison Williams and, of course, John Mechie. Though I think that the talent he should have around him, I mean, I have not done deep research on JoJo Earle or Tyler Harrell, but I would expect those two to have been at least 4 or 5 star receivers. And I expect them to play like 4 or 5 star receivers if they're projected to be the starters. And I expect Burton to have a tremendous role. I mean, look at how Jamison Williams played out. I could see Burton becoming another 1K receiving yard receiver with Alabama. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I honestly think he's going to be on another world with having that Alabama offensive line around him. I think that that's just going to be too much for Texas A&M. I mean, I know Texas A&M does have some big boys in those trenches, but I'm high on this Alabama team, and I honestly think that they can definitely wipe the floor with Texas A&M. I'd say give or take 38-17. Though we'll see how the season plays out. Texas A&M, they have their shot to win as many games as they can heading into that week. I'm sure they'll probably have one or two, either be undefeated or have one or two losses. I'm sure they'll be looking good on paper. They'll be looking good heading into that game, but I think this is where Alabama says, no, we're still alpha in the SEC, particularly the SEC, you know, West, the SEC West. Sorry, I almost said SEC East. Sorry, that is my bad. And I was thinking Georgia. But I also think that they will beat Tennessee, beat Mississippi State, and I really am high on Will Rogers at Mississippi State, but I just think Alabama's too good for them. And then they'll have their bye week October 29th, head to a rebuilding LSU with Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be the starter. I simply do. He's too athletic to lose that job to freshman. And then we all know Miles Brennan just retired pretty much. And then at Ole Miss. Now this could be an interesting game right here. Jackson Dart, or that other guy he's battling it out with, who is a former 4-star. I think Ole Miss could still give them a run for their money. It wasn't long ago that Ole Miss kind of did score a lot of points on them back in 2020. But I honestly think they'll probably edge out Ole Miss. There's no way I don't think Saban's going to want to lose to Lane Kiffin. And then Austin, PA. We all know who's winning that game. And then Auburn. No, Auburn has been a tough opponent for Alabama the last 2 of 3 years. In 2019 and in 2021, they destroyed Auburn in 2020. And Mac Jones was the quarterback in 2019 and in 2020. Mac Jones lost to Auburn in 2019, destroyed Auburn in 2020 with that that historic offense, to be honest. For Alabama, definitely. And then Bryce Young almost loses to Auburn last year. This is the second time around. I think I'm going to stick to that trend. I think Alabama takes this game, and I think it may be handily right here as they look towards going to the SEC championship and likely playing Georgia, or if somebody can be the come out of nowhere team like LSU was in 2019. But it's looking like Alabama's going to go 12-0 and heading into the SEC championship, in my opinion, which I think they could probably win, regardless of who it is. I honestly think Georgia's lost too many pieces to be as historically dominant as they were last year. And then I honestly think I can see them winning round 1 and then playing, whether it's Ohio State or who. I think Alabama has a great shot at winning the national championship and keeping the trend going for Alabama, as they have won so many of these freaking national championships these last few years. I think that Alabama could definitely continue that, and I honestly think they'll return to being the alpha dog. I mean, they did win the SEC last year, but I think they will return to being the alpha dog of college football. And I honestly think even if they do lose the college football championship, national championship, I think they'll only get really one loss with that. I think they'll be undefeated going into the championship game, to be honest. I just think this Alabama team, I think the experience they're bringing, the talent they're bringing, this could be very well one of Alabama's most talented games. I mean, the receiving core, definitely a question mark. I mean, we don't know. We haven't seen JoJo Earl or Tyler Harrell in a whole lot of action, but we have seen Jermaine Burton with Georgia, and he he was pretty impressive. So I honestly think, and Cameron Latu is a proven tight end in my opinion. As they utilize him more, they should be in great shape. That offensive line should hold up well. And that defense should be better than they were last year, in my opinion. Right now, it's between Ohio State and Alabama for me, but I think Alabama, I'm giving them a 60-70% chance of being the national champions this year. I think that I think I think they could very well beat Ohio State, which is probably what could likely happen. I mean, they destroyed Ohio State in 2020. I think they could very well destroy Ohio State again, as I think Ohio State will be the one in the national championship. Though it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ohio State. New quarterback, different from Justin Fields. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think Alabama can win the national championship. And I think that they're going to win the SEC. They're definitely winning the SEC again this year. No question about it, in my opinion. I could very well be wrong, and next thing you know, I'm the next Adam Rank, No offense, I like Adam Rank, but sometimes his predictions can be a little off. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this Alabama team, though. They got some really, really phenomenal and just players that are amazing to watch. I'm excited. And I hope you guys are too, excited for this college football season coming up. There could be a lot of chaos, a lot of upsets. And, maybe Alabama plays Utah. Remember, Utah won the 2008 season against Alabama, 2008, 2009, somewhere around there, against Alabama. They run into Utah again, and Whittingham says, "Yo, Saban, remember me from 13 years ago?" Bam. Upsets Alabama. Who knows? We can't. There's nothing. I'm not a college football prophet, but I think that Alabama, yeah, for like the 10th time tonight that I've said it, can win the national championship, and I'd consider them favorites too, heading into the season. We'll see what happens. Alabama could very well get upset by somebody. Obviously, they're the favorites to win the SEC, and they could be headhunted by a lot of those lower teams. But for now, I say roll tide. I mean, like, I'm not an Alabama fan, but I mean, like, as in the SEC is theirs. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think of Alabama? Let me know your win-loss projection down below. And if I was wrong, definitely correct me. I appreciate feedback and criticism, constructive criticism. If it's just comments about how much I suck, I'm not going to read it or take it into heart. Give me your guys' insights, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.